Back, I mean, everyone thinks you're an overnight success, like always. But back in 1990, you auditioned for this film called Last Flight Out. How did you land that role?
Oh my goodness! How did you know about this? uh, wow, blast from the past. I was in Hong Kong. I was so searching. I was actually I think I was in law school at that time, and I just didn't want to go back to law school. So I was just hanging out in Hong Kong and trying to, do commercials and do whatever I can to kind of, be near showbiz. And I went and auditioned for this NBC movie of the week that I was shooting in Thailand. And I went to the hotel suite. I auditioned for the producer, and he just said, "Listen, you can remain in Hong Kong, or you can, if you're serious about acting, you should go back to the States and learn acting." And I took his advice, and I went back to LA, and I started my acting career there, and I studied acting there. So that was a big turning point in my life, I think.
So did you ever go back to law school at USC?
I did. I actually hatched a plan. The plan was to use my second and third year in law school as an excuse, to pursue acting. And that's pretty much what I did. I was, I don't think I went to class that much in my third year. I actually booked a little movie, independent movie in my third year, and I didn't go to class for like 2 months. I just came back and took the finals, and that was it. Bye-bye, law school.
Oh my! And over the years, over the years, you've done plenty of television, plenty of films. I mean, you've worked consistently almost every year. You got a couple of years off here and there, but consistent. What is the key to, a longevity in the business and consistently working? Good agent or good morals?
Neither. I think it's just certainly not agents. Morals, well, that's a loaded question. I hope you have good morals. I think it's passion. I think if you really, really love this work, and as an actor, you're basically exploring different lives, different people, and try to put that onto the screen, right? But basically it's storytelling. If you enjoy the art form of storytelling in film or television, and you love it, and then you'll think of different ways to stay in the business, You start producing your own things, you start writing your own things, you start, teaming up with people who have the same mindset as yours. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't have the passion, then it will dry up pretty quickly. Yeah.
Well, one piece of advice you have for young Brian, who's first coming into this business, what would be, after 25 years now, happy anniversary, almost 25 years. What would be that piece of advice what would that be a piece of advice be to young Brian?
I would say, find what you really love doing and go at it as best you can with everything you've got, and see where it lands, see where it takes you, and if after a few years it's still no go, and see if you still have the fire to pursue it. And if you still do, then pursue it with anything you got, everything you got. And if you don't, then, there's a saying, if you can find something else that makes you equally happy other than acting, you should probably do that, because that's probably going to be easier.
You're promoting a new movie, Big Deal, right? Yeah, already out there.
Big Deal. That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. How did you come about this project, and what should people expect, and why should they go see this?
Well, Big Deal is a big Korean movie, and nowadays, watching a Korean movie or TV series is not a strange thing anymore to American audiences, right? With films like Parasite, which won the Oscar, Squid Game, one of the top, most highly rated streaming series. Everyone's very familiar with Korean content. They just called me out of the blue. They called my manager, and I thought they made a mistake because they said, we want you to be in Korea for 3 months. This is a full-fledged Korean film. It's in Korean, and it's with Korean stars. And I was talking to my manager, and I was going, they know I'm not Korean, right? And so long and short of it, it's a story about how a U.S. investment banking firm kind of took over one of the biggest soju companies in Korea. And this happened in 2003. And that's the story. And I play the managing director of this U.S. investment firm. And I have this kind of like mentor-mentee relationship to Lee Jae-hoon, who is the Korean protagonist, also a dancer. And he walks a really great line. He does kind of, shady things in this film to get the job done. So, yeah. So it was one of the highlights of my career doing this Korean film. I never expected to be in one, and it was certainly a great surprise and one of the most enjoyable times I had.
Well, with your experience now, I mean, you have experience in, of course, American filmmaking. You grew up. You were from China, so you probably know a little bit about filmmaking there. And now in Korea, what are the similarities and big differences between maybe an Asian and American filmmaking, or is the sauce or the recipe still the same? Good pre-production, good production, and a lot of post.
Well, I'll tell you, the biggest difference, the first day when I got to Korea, literally the night that I landed, I got this little kind of like a manga book, it's almost like a comic book, bounded, that was given to me by the producer. And I looked at it, I was like, this is kind of nice. What is this? He said, well, this is the movie. We storyboarded the entire movie and we put it into this book for you. I thought it was just a nice little souvenir kind of a thing, right? I said, okay, thank you so much. Yeah, I didn't really read it because I said, okay, that's kind of cute, right? So, but then midway through the shoot, I realized that they were actually shooting according to the storyboard that's in this book, like literally frame by frame. And then I said, okay, wow, if I actually read this book for pages the night before, I would literally know what they're going to film tomorrow, like in order and for how long each scene. So now that is something we don't do in Hollywood. So I asked about it, and I said, what is this? What's going on here? And they said, well, 8-10 years ago, there was 1 or 2 Korean, very well-known Korean directors that kind of did this, and everyone kind of followed suit. And today, you kind of need that little storyboard book to even get your project greenlit, because the studios over there, they want to see how your movie's going to be shot. And I was going, okay, this makes perfect sense, total sense. It's interesting. We certainly don't do this in Hollywood.
No, it's a costly added step to storyboard a whole film. But I mean, I can see why it makes they make very, very solid storylines. I mean, how was this storyline versus other films that you worked on?
How was this storyline versus other films that I've worked on?
Yeah, like how cohesive was it? And how since you had the storyboard, how succinct was the storyline versus the other style of just going from a script?
Well, they certainly, with the storyboard way of shooting a film, they certainly save a lot of time. Okay? Because literally we'll be shooting a scene and say like it's one frame looking this way, you and me talking, and it could be 4 lines. And then they get that 4 lines and it's a cut. And then they move on to the next frame. All right? So So let's just say like the scene between you and me, we could have like 30 lines. They'll shoot 4 lines here, 4 lines there, another 4 lines, another angle, and they'll patch it up together. Whereas in Hollywood, we would shoot the entire scene from top to bottom, like from a wide shot, and then we could slowly punch in. All right? Now, pros and cons. The pro of shooting the American way is that you have a lot more flexibility and freedom when you cut the film, when you edit the film. You know, you can play around with it because you've shot from every angle, wide, the whole scene over and over and over again. But it takes more time, and time is money. The Korean way is they're kind of tied to what they've shot, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. It's 4 lines here, 4 lines there, you know. So when they go to the editing, in fact, there's a guy who actually is on the set, and he edits as we film. So by the end of the day, we would literally be looking at a rough cut of that scene. Now, that doesn't really exist in Hollywood as well.
Huh. Wow.
So pros and cons, there's something you can learn from them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Like always, every experience. You got some projects coming down the pipeline also. Would you like to talk about those?
I'll talk a little bit about it because it's still in post-production, but I have a very cool film. It's called Kill Him Till He's Dead. And it's in the film, I play like 7 different bodies, 7 different people. And it's sci-fi, it's action, it's comedy, it's very fun, and it's very exciting. It stars Milo Ventimiglia, Anson Mount, and Ashley Greene. You will hear about it next year.